What's up, Tiger fans? This is Khalil back with another episode of Inside C Sports. This time we're going to join Trey Henderson, coach of the women's soccer team.
Trey Henderson, head women's soccer coach at Campbellsville University. I started coaching actually in college. Probably it was my sophomore year. We had done some work with a local youth club in the area, so we would go for camps and clinics. We'd help out with tournaments and stuff like that, but through them we helped found a homeschool league for kids in that county that were just unable to play high school sports. We had a middle school level and then a high school level, but we helped found that, and then a lot of the players from our team went and coached one of the schools that was associated with that particular where they were zoned, and it was really fun. You know, me and all my teammates got to coach against each other, and it just became this whole thing. We had a league table in our locker room and stuff, and we got really into it. But you know, once graduated college, it was started as a little side gig. I was looking to go into education and was coaching club on the side, and then in 2018 I made the switch to leave education and went into to coaching full time. So I was able to come on as an assistant for Mike Giuliano and Georgia Gwinnett, which was up in Lawrenceville, Georgia, in 2019, and worked there for 5 years. Had a lot of success at GGC until I came up here in 2024. A lot. I mean, I got to learn, obviously, from the first coach that I was working under as an assistant, Mike Giuliano, who, he won 4 national championships. He was a coach at the D1 level for a long time, and really experienced, and was able to learn a lot from him. And then, being able to take that next step to become a first assistant coming up here, and working under Alex Adams. He was a big reason why I came here. He was, I think, very instrumental in, selling not only the university and the program, but he was, I think, a good guy for me to come under and work with, and we had a lot of fun together. He's actually became one of my closest friends, and really enjoyed the time that we had together. Just being able to adapt. I think being able to adapt, to be flexible, to being able to navigate tough moments. I think this season has had a lot of ups and downs. I think which was always going to be the case. I think when you bring in a team that was as young as the team that we currently have, it was a lot of things going off, on the pitch and off the pitch, just more on maybe the administrative side too. So having to come out and just be prepared for the unexpected was something that definitely hit me very hard this year. But we've got to a point now where we're going into the postseason, and really excited about what the next week will hold for us. We had 2 sessions a day, and obviously getting after it out on the field, being able to, make sure that the players were all taking care of their bodies. So being able to make sure that we were having, moments where we could go and they could take care of their bodies. So yoga sessions, pool sessions, in addition to the 2 sessions outdoors. But a big thing for me was, just being able to have that team camaraderie and that culture to continue to build. So we did a lot of things, team bonding moments where, we'd go out. We had a bonfire one night. We went hiking one night, did a team dinner. So just little stuff like that where they can come off the pitch, kind of forget about soccer for a little bit to, help build those relationships off the pitch, because I think if your team is very strong off the pitch, it's going to make those moments on the pitch that are tough a lot easier to navigate. Last year was a great year for us. We finished the year 18-2, and we're able to clinch a first round bye in the national tournament. Going in as an at-large bid and a host site was huge for us, but we, I think, knew going into this year, there was a lot of things that we had to replace. You graduated 15 seniors, 7 of which were starters that left the program, so we had a lot of work to do inside of the recruitment. But as I told the girls in preseason, like that, the standard is not just being able to clinch postseason and to be able to make the national tournament. Our goal is to win a national tournament. Our goal is to make sure that we make a run deep into postseason. We were able to, we weren't obviously hosting this year, but, we're able to make the national tournament. We did it the hard way, but we were able to get there. And, now our goal is, it's not just to go there and to qualify and play one game and go home. Our goal is to make a real run and, not only to get farther than we did last season, but ultimately win the tournament itself. I think training is very important. I think being able to prepare the right way is vastly important in that. I think the players, I think are aware of the level and the standard that we're looking to aspire to. I think one of the things that, in training especially, trying to replicate a game environment as much as you can. The players, I think, understand that. They know that, and it's contagious. I think then when someone's working their socks off to make themselves better, that in turn is going to make the girl to the left and the girl to the right that much better as players. And then, again, just understanding what our goals are and what we want to do. There was definitely, I think, a switch that was flipped kind of towards the tail end of the season once we get into the conference tournament, knowing that this could potentially be our last game. But something that was echoed, I think, as soon as we got into that first game versus Bethel was this isn't going to be our last game. This isn't going to be our last training session. I think I said that about 1 million times in the last couple weeks, and the players, I think, have definitely echoed that in the locker room, and I think that has made us just such a dangerous team as we go forward. So we knew they were going to be a tough team. I mean, they're a top 10 team in the country for a reason. You were obviously very familiar with them, just in my experience with my year with the team last year, and we had a close game with them last year. We set up really well last year, and unfortunately narrowly missed out. They scored in the last 10 minutes from a set piece, and we played really well in that game. But we knew that we had to be prepared. And I think going into the first game this season versus Cumberland's it wasn't our best performance. But as we looked at the game and analyzed the goals, I think we started well. But looking at each goal, they were all preventable. But we went in with a little bit different of a game plan going into that next game, and we set up really well. Scored in the first 10 minutes, which was huge for us, and to be able to, we knew we were going to have to defend a little bit more than what we're usually used to, but the girls were very resilient. We were able to sit back and absorb pressure, but in those moments, how are we going to be able to find those moments where we could go forward and be dangerous? And we were. I think every time we went forward, we caused them problems. Julia was fantastic in her role, just trying to stretch them and get really high up the pitch to try to pin them back when we went forward. Allie and Grace both did a really good job as center forwards to be able to come deep and really look to create those little overloads in midfield as we look to advance our wing backs, who again, both of those girls did fantastic. Both Wilma and Amelie were fantastic, but the relationship that we had with our center mids and our center backs were great as well. The communication and the drive with everybody who featured that night, and everyone on the sidelines as well, it was a great effort. But with them, we led for 80 plus minutes, and then they were able to equalize in the last 2 minutes of the game. I think that, and I told my team this, I think that would have deflated a lot of teams, including some of the best teams in the country. But for them to go out, to be able to score that early in the added time period was huge, and I think just shows how resilient and gutsy that performance was. And it was great. It was one of the best moments of my career. I was really proud of them. So, girls are ready. Girls are excited. They are, I think, really determined to not let this be our last game and our last involvement. And our goal is to get to Florida. So, yeah, it's been great. Erin Ryden, who is technically my GA, she's acted as my assistant, and she's done a really good job. She's really stepped up and gone above and beyond what is, I think, asked from head coaches from their GAs. And she's done a really good job. Shawnee, our AT, has done a really good job too. Obviously, Ellie had been here for a long time, but Shawnee has stepped in and has done a really good job, both with her relationship with the team and then obviously the professionalism that comes out with being an AT. I don't think that I would be able to do my job as effectively if we didn't have those little supporting roles there. They've done a really, really good job. So, but I'm really proud of the team. I mean, for us to think that a month ago we were sitting here, if you would have told me a month ago that we were heading to the national tournament, I would have, it was definitely something that I think we always had the talent, but I just think that sometimes when you have some inexperience or immaturity in a group, that can obviously affect things. But I think you've seen so much growth and development from this team, and I think that's really gonna pay off not only in this season but next season as well. Training is same as it's been across the entirety of the season. We're looking to get after it. High intensity sessions that are going into work on some things that we need to work on, and also prepare against the opponent that will play on Thursday, and then the potential one that will play on Saturday. So looking to obviously get through some film sessions to show them what they'll be facing here in a couple days, and then just try to replicate that on the training pitch.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of Inside CU Sports. Please stay tuned for more.